Do you know what is actually inside the sausage you just threw on the barbecue? You grab a pack from the supermarket, the label says Australian beef and maybe shows a happy farmer or a red barn. You assume you are buying something wholesome, something to feed your family on a Saturday arvo. But here is what the marketing does not tell you. That sausage likely contains as little as 50% actual meat. It may include sulphite preservatives that are banned in the United States. It may contain nitrates linked to cancer by the World Health Organization. The iconic Australian brand on the packet is probably owned by a Brazilian or British multinational corporation. I spent weeks researching ingredient lists, ownership structures, food safety reports, and scientific studies. What I found explains why so many Australians report digestive issues, headaches, and allergic reactions after eating supermarket snags, problems they never get from proper butcher sausages. Let me show you which brands to avoid. Number 1. Primo. Primo has been an Australian household name since 1985. The slogan "Is Primo is good" became part of Australian culture. Many Australians assume Primo is still a family-owned Australian business. But here is the truth. Primo was sold in 2014 to JBS, the Brazilian meat processing giant, for $1.45 billion. JBS is the largest meat processor in the world, headquartered in Sao Paulo, Brazil. When you buy Primo sausages, your money flows to South America. JBS has faced serious controversies globally. In Brazil, the company was involved in one of the largest corruption scandals in the country's history. The Batista brothers, who control JBS, pleaded guilty to bribery charges involving hundreds of millions of dollars in payments to politicians. And what about the product itself? Primo sausages contain sulphite preservatives listed as 223 on the ingredients. Sulphites are associated with asthma attacks, breathing difficulties, and allergic reactions in sensitive individuals. They also destroy thiamine, which is vitamin B1, an essential nutrient. Here is something most Australians do not know. Sulphites in meat have been banned in the United States since 1959 because of health concerns. Yet in Australia, manufacturers can add up to 500 milligrams per kilogram to sausages. We are eating preservatives that Americans decided were too dangerous more than 60 years ago. Number 2, Hans. Hans markets itself as a premium European-style small goods brand. The name sounds German. The packaging suggests old-world craftsmanship and traditional recipes. But Hans is owned by the same Brazilian multinational that owns Primo. JBS acquired Hans as part of the Primo deal. It is the same corporate owner with a different marketing strategy. The ingredient list tells the same story. Preservatives, fillers, flavor enhancers, often less than 60% actual meat content. Consumer reviews describe Hans products as tasting artificial and nothing like proper European small goods. One reviewer said it tastes like chemicals, not meat. When you pay extra for Hans thinking you are getting premium quality, you are funding the same Brazilian corporation that owns Primo. The premium price does not mean premium ingredients. Now, before we continue, I know many of you have been asking for a simple way to make better choices at the supermarket without having to memorize all of this information. I have created a practical guide that you can use every day to avoid these traps and pick the best options for your family. The link is in the pinned comment below. I have to be honest with you, I do not know how long I will be able to keep that link active. The big brands have been pressuring me. They want to take down my videos. I have been receiving strange emails and phone calls every single day. Some of these calls genuinely scare me. But I am not going to stop. I love Australia above everything else, and I will keep doing this work for as long as I can. So if you want the guide, grab it now while you can. Now let us continue. Number 3, Don Small Goods. Don has been synonymous with Australian small goods since 1947. The slogan "Is Don is good" became one of the most memorable advertising lines in Australian history. Most Australians think Don is still a proudly Australian company, but Don was sold to George Weston Foods in 1999. George Weston Foods is a subsidiary of Associated British Foods, a multinational corporation headquartered in London, United Kingdom. So when you buy Don sausages, your money flows to Britain. The same British multinational that owns Don also owns Tip Top Bread, Abbott's Village Bakery, and Bergen. They are quietly consolidating the Australian food industry while keeping the old Australian branding. Reports indicate Don has struggled under multinational ownership. The Altona North factory was closed in 2011, with hundreds of workers losing their jobs. Production was moved to regional facilities. Quality complaints have increased. Don sausages contain the typical cocktail of additives, sulphites, flavour enhancers and fillers. The traditional recipes that made Don famous have been industrialised for maximum profit. Coles Supermarket sells multiple sausage brands under its own label. What most consumers do not realise is that some Coles sausages now contain a blend of beef and chicken. An investigation by Beef Central found that Coles Simply BBQ sausages contain 58% beef and 15% chicken. The front of the pack says made with Australian meat, but does not prominently display that you are eating a beef and chicken blend. Why would they do this? Simple. Chicken is cheaper than beef. By blending meats, they can reduce production costs while maintaining retail prices. You pay beef prices for a product that is nearly 1/4 chicken. Coles sausages were also named among the saltiest in Australian supermarkets by the George Institute for Global Health. The Coles Thin Pork BBQ sausages contain 2.9 grams of salt per 100 grams. The World Health Organization recommends no more than 5 grams of salt per day total. One sausage in bread with tomato sauce can contain nearly half your entire daily salt allowance. That is before you add chips, a soft drink, or any other food. Number 5. Woolworths Market Value sausages. Woolworths positions its market value range as the budget-friendly option for families. But budget often means compromises on quality. The investigation found that Woolworths Market Value sausages contain a blend of beef and chicken. The ingredient list confirms this, but the packaging does not make it obvious to shoppers in a hurry. Independent butcher Billy Gibney, who runs stores in Brisbane, said he finds it highly unlikely that traditional butchers would blend beef and chicken in sausages. He suggested the move is a strategy to reduce costs, or to include fattier beef by adding chicken to lean out the final product. Woolworths sausages also scored poorly in taste tests. Consumer Group Choice found they had the lowest meat content among major supermarket brands. One forum commenter said supermarket sausages are inedible these days and questioned how people can eat them. The Woolworths Market Value sausages are positioned as Australia's cheapest option. But when you are paying for a product with low meat content, questionable preservatives, and mixed species, are you really saving money? Number 6. Aldi bulk pack sausages. Aldi has built a reputation for value. Their bulk pack sausages are among the cheapest per unit in Australia, but that rock bottom price comes at a cost. Choice testing found Aldi sausages had the highest salt and fat content among the major supermarkets. While Aldi focuses heavily on cost of living savings, the health cost may be significant. The George Institute named Aldi's Brannan's Butchery Classic Aussie beef sausages among the saltiest on the market, with 2.4 grams of salt per 100 grams. High salt intake is directly linked to high blood pressure, heart disease, and stroke. Australians already consume far more salt than recommended, and cheap processed meats are a major contributor. Aldi sausages are manufactured to a price point, not a quality standard. The ingredients reflect this: fillers, preservatives, flavour enhancers, and the minimum meat content required by law. Now let me tell you something that should concern every Australian. In 2015, the World Health Organization classified processed meat as a Group 1 carcinogen. That is the same category as tobacco smoking and asbestos. The evidence is sufficient to say that processed meat causes cancer in humans. Research shows that eating just 50 grams of processed meat per day, that is one sausage, increases your risk of colorectal cancer by 18%. The Cancer Council Australia confirms this, stating the risk increases by 1.18 times for every 50 grams of processed meat consumed daily. The main culprits are nitrates and nitrites, preservatives added to processed meats. In your stomach, these form compounds called N-nitroso compounds, which are carcinogenic. They damage the DNA in cells lining your colon and can lead to cancer. This is not speculation. This is the conclusion of more than 800 studies reviewed by 22 international experts working with the World Health Organization. So what should you actually eat? First, your local butcher. Independent butchers can make sausages to order without preservatives. Many butchers across Australia now offer preservative-free, gluten-free sausages made from quality meat with simple ingredients. The Food Intolerance Network maintains a list of Australian butchers who make preservative-free sausages. From Hawker in the Australian Capital Territory to Eagle Farm in Queensland, from Port Lincoln in South Australia to the Sunshine Coast, there are butchers who will make sausages the old-fashioned way with just meat, herbs, and natural casings. Ask your local butcher if they can make sausages without sulphites. Most will be happy to do a batch for you. You might pay a little more, but you will know exactly what you are eating. Second, organic and regenerative farms that sell direct. Businesses like Sunshine Coast Organic Meats, Hagen's Organics, the Free Range Butcher, and Ethical Farmers offer preservative-free sausages made from grass-fed, ethically raised animals. Many deliver Australia-wide. These producers use quality meat, natural ingredients, and freeze their sausages immediately to preserve freshness, instead of relying on chemical preservatives. Third, make your own. All you need is quality minced meat, natural casings, and your choice of herbs and spices. Sausage-making kits are available online for less than $50. When you make your own sausages, you control exactly what goes in. No preservatives, no fillers, no mystery ingredients. How to identify quality sausages? Check the meat content. Australian law requires only 50% meat in sausages. Quality sausages should have at least 70%, preferably higher. Read the full ingredient list. If you see numbers like 220, 223, or 250, those are preservatives. Avoid them if possible. Look for single-species meat. Quality sausages will clearly state beef sausages or pork sausages, not made with Australian meat, which can mean anything. Check the sodium content. Look for sausages with less than 1.5 grams of salt per 100 grams. Buy from butchers who make their own on site. Ask about ingredients. A good butcher will tell you exactly what is in their sausages. Be suspicious of very long shelf life. Real sausages without preservatives need to be eaten within a few days or frozen. If your sausages last weeks in the fridge, they are loaded with preservatives. Here is the bottom line. The Australian sausage industry has been quietly taken over by multinational corporations. JBS from Brazil owns Primo and Hands. Associated British Foods from the United Kingdom owns Don. The supermarket giants fill the gaps with their own brands, competing on price by reducing quality. Meanwhile, they have loaded our snags with additives, sulphites that are banned in American meat, nitrates classified as carcinogenic by the World Health Organization, salt levels that contribute to heart disease, and meat content as low as 50%, bulked up with fillers and sometimes blended with cheaper proteins without clear labeling. This is not the sausage your grandfather cooked on the barbecue. This is industrialized food production designed to maximize profit at the expense of your health. The World Health Organization has put processed meat in the same category as cigarettes for causing cancer. Yet we serve these products to our children at every school sausage sizzle, every Bunnings barbecue, every weekend gathering. You deserve to know what is in your snag.
If this video helped you understand what is really going on the barbie, hit the like button and share it with your family. Subscribe to Crisis Report Aussie so you do not miss our next investigation, and ring the notification bell. We expose the products companies do not want you to question. Drop a comment and tell me, have you noticed supermarket sausages have changed? Do you get reactions from cheap snags that you do not get from butcher sausages? I read every single comment. And remember, if you want that simple guide to take with you to the supermarket, check the pinned comment. Do it now, because I honestly do not know how much longer I can keep it available. Your family deserves real sausages made with real meat by real Australians, not multinational products dressed up with nostalgic marketing. Together, we are going to hold these companies accountable. I will see you in the next one.